Hello, Apes crew. It's Kara Lenorovitz, and welcome to our 14th week of segment 2, which means we're very close to the finish line. So happy May. Let's jump right in with a little bit of housekeeping, most of which is familiar to you. Of course, you know you should be checking the weekly learning plan every week. We have just a few more of those to go. We are continuing our synchronous sessions every Thursday, so I'll look forward to seeing all of you together again this Thursday, May 3rd from 8:30 to 9:15. Office hours will be as usual this week on Tuesday from 8:30 to 10:30 and Wednesday afternoon from 1 to 3. And in terms of upcoming things, you know for sure we are in our last module, so please hang in there. You've done a lot of excellent work throughout this whole year, and you want to keep that up and keep it going strong right to the very end. Absolutely keep in mind and keep an eye on the gradebook. For those of you who have past due work, know that those later pieces are starting to be replaced with zeros to give you a more accurate representation of where you are performance-wise in class. Remember, those zeros can still be replaced with your actual work, and I would love to and rather see work come in from you so that I can give you feedback on it and you can get that back and you get the practice of working with that content. There are two really important deadlines coming up that you do need to be mindful of. The first is on May 21st, that's a Friday, and that is the deadline for semester 2 work that comes from modules 6, 7, 8, and 9. Most of that work you already should have tackled, so do just make sure you're going back and taking another look, and if you notice anything that's a zero in there, you want to tend to that before Friday, May 21st. The second really important deadline is on Friday, May 28th, and that will be a firm deadline for any work from Module 10 through the end of the semester. So that will include any Module 10 work, our collaboration project, as well as your segment exam. So we are really trying to wrap things up so that, one, your grades can be in time for those of you who are pending your graduation on finishing your classes, and two, to make sure that you're wrapping up class before we head into Memorial Day weekend. So just to give you a visual of where we are, you're receiving this at the beginning of the week of May 3rd, the first week of May. We truly have 4 more weeks together, so make sure you're just hanging on in there. We're going to continue to have our regular synchronous session this week. Next week, you're going to be putting some work together to present your Module 10 collaboration lab. So this DBA is actually that collaboration lab, doing a little bit of analysis and a little bit of thinking about how your data fits into the bigger picture and how our waste production and waste management, or I should say resource management, factors into a lot of the different environmental issues we focused on. We'll have another regular synchronous session the following week. Again, the deadline for modules 6, 7, 8, and 9 work is coming up on May 21st. You're going to have your final exam available the week of May 24th. Those of you who are taking the College Board exam, our first date for that coming up within our class is on the 27th. And then the deadline for your Module 10 work and your final exam is Friday the 28th. So just make sure you're paying attention to those dates that are important to you within that context. In terms of College Board exam, I wanted to just touch base. We've talked about it in class. You've heard about it in previous weekly learning plans. But you want to make sure you're paying attention to the date and that you specifically are coordinating with your College Board coordinator at your school for what you need to show up for, when you need to be there, and what you need to bring with you. So you want to make sure you've got all of those pieces set to go so that you can just focus and concentrate on doing your best work on that exam, and that you've taken care of all of those other pieces when you walk in. I do also want to encourage you to check out the AP Daily Live Review. At this point, all of these pieces of review are actually recorded, so you can watch them at your leisure. But I've shown you this before. This linked document, it's linked on our course homepage. It's linked within each weekly learning plan, has links that go to review videos for each of the major topics that are going to be on the College Board exam. Even if you're not taking the College Board exam, this would be an excellent way to do a comprehensive review of all of the content from the entire year. So I encourage you to use that resource. All right, let's just quickly glance again. Remember, you also have AP Classroom as a resource as you're wrapping up and reviewing and preparing to close out the year and to take the College Board exam, as well as our online Apes textbook, the one with the falcon on the cover. So let's look at the content for this week. This is our last week of new content, and I probably should say new because the focus here is really going to be on recycling. So that's reusing materials in a new way, and on global change and sustainability. So we're really going to be thinking about reapplying some big concepts in a few new contexts. So last new bit in 10.03 is all about recycling. You're going to be learning about that, exploring a little bit about how that applies here in Vermont. And then in 10.04, you're going to be thinking about global change and sustainability, doing a simulation lab, and then you are going to be doing an analysis of your own community, thinking about what practices are currently in place that are sustainable, and what recommendations do you have for changes in practices that would make you or your household or your community even more sustainable. Along the way, of course, you are also continuing to work on your AP math and exam preparation. In this particular module, you are customizing this part of the process for you. So you're going back through all of the content for the year. You're identifying areas where you need to do more review. You're going through and identifying important vocabulary terms and concepts. Maybe if there are facts or figures or statistics that you need to know, and identifying those for yourself, and then figuring out which of those areas you want to go back and spend more time with. As well, we are getting close to wrapping up our collaboration solid waste lab. At this point, you should have at least 6 weeks of data on your banana peel and piece of paper. You should have compiled that data in terms of a pictorial representation chronologically of what happened to those over that time frame. And you should also have constructed a graph of your quantitative data. Please, please, please make sure you have that ready to go to show everybody during class on Thursday, because we're going to talk about what you need to do next with that data to finish up your analysis, which of course means that we will see each other in class on Thursday. So let's take a look at the weekly learning plan. All right, no surprises here in terms of structure. You know there's an introduction at the beginning, an outline of your learning objectives for each part of the work that you're working on this week, communication reminders, pacing reminders with those deadlines in there, and then your to-do list. So I wanted to point out a couple of things here. Again, here is that link to the AP daily live and recorded review sessions. You're going to be working on recycling. In addition to the content that's in the lesson, I would encourage you to check out the more localized resources that are here that have a little bit more up-to-date information about recycling in your area. You're going to take a short quiz then. The second section of this is global change and sustainability. You are going to be doing a lab embedded within this lesson. The way we're going to handle this lab, I want you to do the background reading, I want you to conduct the simulations, and I want you to record the data as part of your notes. But it's going to be a thinking assignment only, which means that lab is not something you're going to formally turn in. However, I do want to show that to you just so you're aware of it. When you get to 10.04, it's on page 2. You'll see an introduction there, and you'll see the procedure. When you get to the procedure, you're going to see a link to the Global Energy Options Lab. That's going to take you to this site here. There's important text and information on the first page you'll land on. So you'll want to go through first. There are 2 lessons here. The first lesson is about managing resources. You want to read the overview. You then want to go to the first lesson, read the introduction so you're familiar with the bigger concept you're going to be exploring. And then you're going to carry out step 1, which will give you an introduction to the simulation, and step 2 and what you're doing in the simulation. The simulator is right here. I'm going to go ahead and open it for you so that you can see what it looks like. You will see that in this first lesson, managing resources, the simulation you're going to do has to do with how we are generating our energy worldwide, how we're meeting demand versus supply, and then also what's going on with atmospheric CO2. You're going to be making changes by adding or adjusting different types of energy sources in order to meet the needs. And once you've met the needs of the current decade, you'll click on Run Decade, and it will proceed forward to the next decade. You'll again need to make some adjustments, make some modifications there. You're going to be keeping track of your data in each decade, and you'll have an overview of the graphs here. You can get to the second part of that simulation in the same tab here by going to Energy Efficiency, but I strongly encourage you to make sure that you're also reading the information in the lesson. It just gives you a little bit more context about what you're doing and the options you have to control in that simulation. All right, let's come back then. The part that you will be turning in for 10.04 is this global change and sustainability project. Again, here you're going to be evaluating your own, your households, and your community's practices that are sustainable and making recommendations for specific things each one of those aspects you, your household, and your community could do or do differently to increase your sustainability. Again, you're continuing your AP math and exam prep. You're continuing your work for the Collaboration Solid Waste Lab. Do make sure your data is processed and ready to share during class time. And then you're going to get together for class on Thursday. All right, so what does that look like in short format? Here we are. Your jobs this week: complete 10.03 on recycling, 10.04 on global change and sustainability, continue your review process for AP math and exam prep, continue working on 10.06 so that you're ready to share your process data with us in class. If you are behind piece, it's a critical time for you to make sure you're investing time to get caught up. You're going to attend class. And of course, as always, I welcome you to reach out for help if you have questions or need any additional support. Otherwise, I will look forward to seeing you this Thursday. Take care.